started off as a PG podcast, but then Devin just kept on dropping shits and fucks, and
I'm just trying to figure out what's in her mouth.
I just want to see him interview Francesco Accoli.
No, he's a good human being, is what he would say about himself, I'm sure.
Who's hosting this thing?
Take charge, Kevin, would you? Jesus.
First time we ever met those guys. That was the major drunken pub argument.
I think you guys are the worst.
I'm gonna have to probably watch some Canucks hockey, unfortunately.
Just making friends left, right, and center, and probably some enemies as well.
Tell him to shut up. He needs to hear that every once in a while.
Off to a good start.
All right. We are live.
It's okay to talk when it goes live.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hockey Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at podcast_hockey, Facebook.com, The Hockey Podcast, YouTube.com, The Hockey Podcast, where we currently sit at the grand number of as the number slowly comes up, 100, and we did move. Good. 100 and who wore 91 in Canada?
I think it was Steve Yzerman for Team Canada.
Yes, he did wear 100, and Steve Yzerman. Yes, he did. He, although 19 is the most commonly worn number, but yes, you can also subscribe to the audio wherever you get your audio. We are at 191, or the jersey number from here. Just hang on. I have a number here. Yeah, but we're here with Sean, not Sean, but Sean. How are you?
I'm doing good, Kevin.
Yes, I'm not Kevin. I'm not even, yeah, and there will not be enough likes on Twitter for me to change that number. Did you see John Tavares wore 91?
There you go, Kev.
John
there you
Tavares.
go.
I'm rusty because I haven't spoken on a microphone in a day and a half. But, and did you see what Haley? But we'll get to the game. But did you see what Haley Salvian claimed today?
Was it the retweet of some random reporter asking Bill Belichick what his New Year's resolutions are going to be after losing to the Bills?
Yeah, that poor girl. I don't think she knew. She didn't know Bill Belichick. I don't think that she had any idea who that was.
The only way that'd be more entertaining is if someone asked that to Torts.
Oh, can we do that? Yeah. Come on, Ardo O'Cal. Ask Torts his New Year's resolution.
After a loss.
Yeah.
Miss the NHL coach who is basically Marshawn Lynch. I'm only here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that would be pure entertainment.
That would be
especially
hilarious.
If your phone goes off right after.
Oh yeah, that would be even better. But yes, we are here. We're going to be recapping recapping all the Team Canada games. We'll be live after every game. We are going to be doing our regular podcast, which will touch on the news of the week in hockey. During that, we're going to try to just focus on the games for these, and I'll have our news caps up about 3 o'clock Pacific, 3 or 4 o'clock Pacific, sometime in there. And then, so we'll have a regular pod talking about what's going on in the NHL. And then if you have any questions, comments, leave them in there. But our focus today is on the hockey game and the World Juniors, which opened for the 46th year. And it's an interesting tournament. I think everybody feels that they have a bit of nobody feels like a dominant for sure favorite. And nobody is really fearing any team. That is sort of, I thought, the theme of the day. Didn't see a lot of Finland, Germany, but Germany didn't feel afraid of Finland. Russia, Sweden. I think the story of that was the Sergei Zubov pulling Askarov after the second period.
He needed a made bed, not an unmade bed.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he's starting to look like a little bit more of a made bed, but he's still unmade, if that makes any sense. Like, I think some of the blankets are coming on the bed, but I don't think the bedspread's on the bed yet. That's what I think is missing. And then the Czechs came out and not, I wouldn't say they were super intimidated, but it certainly felt like, as Canada did win 5-3, but it's certainly 6-3. Oh, right, 6-3. It certainly felt like Canada was, I don't know if they were taking them lightly, or they had too much eggnog, or they just weren't in sync at the beginning of the game, especially defensively.
Yeah, I think they just weren't in sync, and I think the defensemen were trying to do one thing, and the forwards were trying to do another, and they kept giving up odd men rushes, and the Czechs were able to capitalize and put the Canadians in a 3-1 hole at one point in the first period there.
Yes, we'll go through the summary here as I just pull this up here on the fancy dancy internet. It was, because Canada opened the scoring. The Anaheim Ducks did a very smart thing in drafting Mason McTavish. He is probably, in terms of, he's as close to NHL ready, probably out of most of the Canadian forwards I saw. I think the other one that I think was closer was maybe Cole Perfetti, but I thought McTavish, for the most part, was as close, and he showed it there. Like, just too strong, hard to get off the puck. A great individual effort made it 1-0. Then Mikhail Gut tied it at 7:42 at 1-1, and then the Kelowna Rockets' Pavel Novak made it 2-1, and then Stanislav Savol made it 3-1. He was the player of the game, and then Owen Power, 23 seconds later. Now, Tyler and I in the chat felt this should have been goaltender interference, but I was also in another chat. The point I think someone made is the Malik, the goaltender, didn't move fast enough for that to really be considered goaltender interference. Like, Perfetti got it, like, everybody moved too slow after that for that to make sense to be a goaltender interference. So I kind of could see why, but I think there was a legitimate question if it was.
If they were going to call, they would have had to call an actual penalty. Once they let it go, the amount of time that was left that between the contact and when the Owen Power shot went in was way too long to be able to, and especially with Perfetti scrambling out there out of the crease and getting out of the way as quickly as he could. I understand it. I just think, if they were gonna call it, it would have had to have been a goaltender interference penalty.
Yep. But Owen Power, that was the first of 5 goals from defensemen. And then Connor Bedard did not see a lot of ice time. He was actually considered the 13th forward, but him and Perfetti set up Donovan Sabrango to make it 3-3 with 30 seconds to go. And then the Czechs just took a couple of really bad penalties that put the Canadians up 5 on a 5-on-3, and then Owen Power from Perfetti and Maverick Bork, and then Power from McTavish and Perfetti made it 5-3. And then Olin Zellweger, I forgot about that goal, from Lucas Cormier and Jake Neighbors made it 6-3. The Canadians allowed 9 shots in the first period and allowed 4 after that. So I got full marks I mean, overall, I think just full marks Canadians to winning their first game. They did not get off to a good start. But I thought that the skill players stepped up, and this was a game where I think the skilled guys. It was a game for skilled guys. It was certainly the Maverick Borks, the Xavier Bourgeois, Perfettis, Bedards. Those guys were really the ones that kind of took the lead.
For me, I was really impressed with Mason McTavish. I was able to watch him in person. First game of the year here in Cal. First home game of the year for the Flames versus the Ducks at the beginning of the season, and he looks like he should be still there. Honestly, the way his confidence with the puck, his vision, that his goal was spectacular. Protecting the puck, wheeling it along the blue line, walking the blue line a bit, and then driving the net, finding a defenseman who was flat-footed and attacking him to create that goal was just like it's one of the best goals. It'll probably be one of the top 5 goals in this tournament, and barring any other ridiculousness. Just because of how just the speed he did it at, and then just the shot placement as well. It just was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. So the shots on goal actually after the first 2 period was 10-7 after one, and then 26-10 the rest of the way. So 36-17 overall. Yeah, he's ready. He for sure. I thought he seems the. I mean, I guess you can make sense that Owen Power is probably NHL ready, but in terms of the forwards, Mason McTavish just seems the most NHL ready. He just has that confidence, I think, out there.
And then I'm really excited to see how Connor Bedard sort of grows throughout this tournament, because even in just this game, you started to see him getting a little more confidence every shift he was given. And he didn't play a lot in the first period. He only played like 2 minutes and change. Got up over 5 minutes in the second. I haven't seen the third period ice time for him just yet, but I'm really excited to see what he does. I felt he was noticeable out there every time he was out, and they moved him up and started playing him with Perfetti and who am I missing? It wasn't. Casey took over Bourgeois' spot on that Perfetti line.
Was
Jake Neighbors?
Yeah, I think it was it was either Neighbors or Bork, I want to say, but I know okay. Here. I thought it was sort of interesting, and for me, I don't know what to make of this, but other than Caden Gooley, and then I'm trying to look for the ice time here. Maybe I'll find it and go in a different direction here on in terms of the Google, but it didn't seem like a lot of the WHL players were getting a heck of a lot of ice time, other than Caden Gooley. Dylan Gunther got maybe 3 shifts this game. Logan Stankoven was a healthy scratch. Jake Neighbors didn't play a heck of a lot. Even defensively, I mean, which I suspected, they relied on Gooley and Power a lot, which I suspected that they were going to do anyway. But I just found that, I thought that was really interesting to me, sort of the non-playing of WHL. And I don't know if that was just a coincidence or what that was all about. I'm assuming it was, because I think as this tournament is going to go on, you're going to need those WHL players.
Oh yeah, and I think that it was. I don't think there was anything into that more than just it was. It's just who was going.
Yeah,
and you had the McTavish Johnson line that was going, and you had Perfetti and the Bedard line was going. And yeah, Gooley played really well. Owen Power was. We're talking about players who had impressed us, and we haven't even mentioned the first defenseman to score a hat trick for Team Canada in the World Juniors, Owen Power.
Yeah, no, I was going to get to him. It was coming. I thought I found the ice time. The I would he is like, I don't know how to describe him. He's got just he's a guy that probably legitimately is I look at him, he's easily a 30-minute player or defenseman, 30-35 like already. He's got some versatility and he's got a really smart shot. Just seems like a really smart player, like just super intelligent. The second power play goals when he jumped in, it was the one he jumped in behind. Perfetti set him up there. Just he knows when to jump in, and yeah, just a very confident player overall. Looking at his ice time here as I found it. That's forwards. That's defenseman. Sorry, this is good podcasting here. It was, I see how they did this. Okay, he played 21-48, 26 shifts, 3 shots on goal in the second, 2 in the third. He was outstanding, I thought.
Yeah, and it showed. Like as you said, he's a smart player. He reads well off of other players on that power play. Him and Perfetti read well off each other to create that goal. And it's when you've got someone who's already played in the World Championships and was playing over 20 minutes a game in the World Championships this past spring. He's got he's got that it factor that you can rely on him for the heavy minutes.
Yeah. Because there wasn't, like, just looking at the ice time here. And by the way, I think it was Shane Wright that was on that line. Sorry, not Maverick Bork. It was Shane Wright.
Yeah, you're right. I think that Perfetti and the kids.
Yeah, Perfetti and the ones.
Yeah.
Although I thought Shane was I mean, he was quiet in terms of offensively. 90% though in the faceoff circle. 9 wins, 1 loss. So that's impressive in 15-58. Where was I going before that? Anyway, but I just thought, they I lost my train of thought.
You pulled a Chris.
I pulled a Chris. Yes. It was once they got their sea legs under them, they took control of the game. 5 goals from defensemen, power with 3, Zabrango and Zellweger, who's another guy, just by the way, I just think he's really underrated. Owen Zellweger. I think he's got a really smart shot, plays his position well, 16:56 of ice time. So I mean, there wasn't a lot. I don't think there was a lot to complain about from the Canadian performance overall.
No, I'm not sold on the goaltending, but that seems to be an issue with Team Canada a lot going into these tournaments. That I think was the second Czech goal. That was on the power play, I think. Right, that
the Novak goal.
Yeah, Garand was way behind reading that play. Like that's a goal that shouldn't go in, and I think he knows it. But he did bounce back and played solid enough that once they got the lead, that there was no doubt. As soon as they got the that 2 goal, as soon as they got the 5-on-3, I knew as if they scored, it was over. But it was I just, you can't have those. You can't, like, if you get those bad games out of the way early when you've got the run support. So hopefully he does, and they can rely on him going forwards, because there may not be a true monster power in this tournament this year, but Russians don't go away. Sweden's has players who can score. We all know the States are always dangerous. So, and the Finns can surprise. So get them out of the way, or get the bad games out of the way early, so that come medal round, he's good to go.
Yeah, I understand what you said about the second goal, and I just think I think everybody was just out of sync there. My concern isn't goaltending. It's going to sound weird. I still am not super convinced how they've structured that defense as a group. That's where my biggest concern is, and it's I mean it's it's the lack of a right-handed shot. For the love of God, if Gooley and Power get hurt, Carson Lambo's only played 3 minutes tonight. He's a first-round pick. But he played 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Although he was he was the seventh defenseman, but still, you got Zabrano. I mean, everyone else played in the 20 minutes, but still, I'm just a little worried of how they've structured that defense, and I think I'm concerned when you're playing a team like Sweden, as an example, going forward, or a team with a bit more of a structure. Not that the Czechs don't have structure, but the Swedes have more of a structured game. I'm a little concerned how that defense is going to hold up.
I am too, which is why you need to have your goaltender be on his game and can't be letting has to be reading the play so that he's in position for those shots. Because the rest of the team didn't read that play well either, but you need your goaltender to bail you out. And I agree with you, Kev. I do think it is something that's going to be worrisome going up against the bigger teams. We saw them, was it 6-4 in the preseason game versus Russia?
Yep.
So they've got the firepower to outscore it, but it's not going to be it's not going to be easy. And we saw today the Swedes were able to beat the Russians, and the states are always going to be dangerous. They even if they're a half step behind Team Canada, they get up to play Team Canada. That's almost a bigger rivalry than Canada Russia in the World Juniors now, and those kids get up for those games. So they're gonna have to get to the medal they're gonna have to wait till at least the quarters to face any of those teams, but they're gonna have to get through them to win the gold. So you have to find a way to shore things up defensively, to find a way to close the gaps between the forwards and the defense, because even tonight, like I just watched, there was a couple odd man rushes that went one way, and then Canada would go back, and the Czechs were right there. That wasn't an odd man rush the other way. So they need to shore those up. But other than that, they've got players up front that I think were unlucky to not get a point or not score. I think Bedard did show a lot that makes me very excited for the rest of the tournament, as I said earlier. And you've got players who can be physical presence out there. Jake Neighbors was able to throw his weight around. Caden Gooley, Justin Sordoff.
Yeah.
And you need that. And I think this team has the right, at least up front, has the right combination. It's just whether or not they can play good team defense, and that defense core can be as good as the parts that are there.
Yeah. And I mean, they didn't play a lot of Dylan Gunther. Logan Stankoven didn't play. Justin Sordoff, another guy I had to watch out for in this tournament. And Connor Bedard has had a quietish year in Regina in comparison to what I think everyone was expecting. The team struggled, but give him this ice and give him an opportunity to play with it. Like he's going to have a great tournament for sure. And Garand, this year so far, 15-4 and a 1.85 goals against average and 2 shutouts with Kamloops. So I'm not worried about him. And Costa is an elite goaltender as well. So I think that they're going to be fine in goaltending. I just think one of them is going to have to take the reins One of them will take the reins in when they get into the medal round.
Well, Casa wasn't even dressed tonight.
Yeah, that's also was fascinating. They went with Brochure, not Casa, but there's probably a reason for that. We just don't know what that is.
Yeah. Well, and in today's, you never know. But I think I don't think this game that net is Grands
No,
at all.
Nope.
Like solely at all. I think we're going to see at least one of the other goalies come maybe even next game.
My suspicion is they're going to rotate Garand and Casa, and then they will decide based on that. Then they'll make the determination. I don't see Brochure playing. That would surprise me. I mean, Casa's a high draft pick, a first round pick. I would suspect that they're going to play him at some point in this tournament. I think they're splitting it, and then they'll decide. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and then one thing I want to bring up is I don't know the status of Xavier Bourgeau. I think he left near the end of the game. Maybe we do see Stankoven come in next game. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see him anyways, because of I think Will Cooley wasn't necessarily great. They didn't play Gunther that often, or Desnoyers, so that fourth line didn't play that much. And I think it's maybe you do bring in a Stankoven and see what he can do. But other than that, like I really like Bedard. I really like Power, and I just was blown away with McTavish. I felt he had a step on everyone. Like it wasn't even close. He was far and away the best forward out there. And I would even put him as the best skater, period.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree. I thought he dominated. I mean, you're not gonna, like, in terms of player of a game, you're a defenseman giving a hat trick is your player of the game. There's no way around.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. You have to. But in terms of who impressed me more from start to finish, it was McTavish.
Yeah.
And just pulling this up from Chris, who is not with us right now, but watching. No, there was no punishment that came from the sort of hit. They just gave him 2 minutes for interference, which was in double IHF hockey, you never know. You never. I can never predict it because it's such a different standard.
Yeah, I saw someone tweet, did they invite George Peros to the tournament? So there was apparently a hit in another game, and I must have missed it. I think it was in the Finland-Germany game. There was a hit that I think people were questioning if it was, but I probably missed it. So, is there anything else we need to touch on?
I don't think so. U.S. is already up 2-0 on Slovakia. Matthew Coronado, Flames prospect, has worked his way to the top line for the States. We got to see Zladnev on Russia play for he is a Vancouver Canucks prospect. And I just honestly, after everything we've gone through with the NHL getting postponed and all that, it just was nice to have something of something close to normal. And having Team Canada play on Boxing Day and win on Boxing Day. I think that's 22 years in a row or something like that they've won the opener.
I don't recall. I don't remember. Yeah, it must have been that long. I don't recall them ever losing that game. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's leave it there. We will be back tomorrow. You're right. It's good to have normal. We'll be trying to figure out when the NHL is scheduled to be back Tuesday. We're going to figure a lot of that out tomorrow. Some good news in some places. Some places there's COVID, still players in COVID protocol. We'll discuss that. We have an arena issue in Calgary to discuss. We have also We'll also touch on, maybe we'll spend a bit more time on this and dig deeper tomorrow. The women's U18 hockey tournament is not happening. I think that is a tremendous and unfair tragedy, and maybe that's something that we can all dig into tomorrow as a topic, because that I have an article coming out on that Area 51, but I think that this is just it's a terrible decision, and it's not based, and I do not believe that this is based on COVID protocols, and I think that that's the sad part of this. I think that this is bull crap. Wait, we can swear here, but this is bullshit, right?
Yes, we swear here, Kev.
Right. Who's the boss anyway? Yeah. And then, hopefully we're back into some hockey games starting on the 28th. But let's leave it there unless we have anything else.
Bruce, there it is. Let's go.
Bruce, there it is. Tyler's going to be happy that we ended at the 31-minute mark as opposed to the 2:02 mark. I hear the applause. But how do we follow you?
I am BeardyCanuck03 on Twitter.
Tyler is TNOBLE. Chris is Schneid's SCHNEIDZ. Devin Gordhouse 09. I am KEVOLE. Podcast_hockey. Facebook.com The Hockey Podcast. YouTube.com The Hockey Podcast. We'll have our word of the week tomorrow. We have another couple of other announcements coming very soon as well, so pay attention for that. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.